Hello and welcome to you. Nee B here with a thank you first of all. A thank you to you for helping me get to 1,000 subscribers. This really does mean a lot to me, as the smallest act of kindness is worth more than the grandest intention. So by just simply clicking the sub and knots, you have all made my day, and you all have my deepest thanks and love. But let's get into this new part. Helio versus Geo. Who wins? Well, you decide. So please take a seat and turn the volume up and those lights down. It's another part of the RFEFP series, Medication Time to Rhyme, with part 9 and Chime with a lime from where it all began, because I'm no rapper, maybe a protagonist. Now, if one can learn to recognise good writing when you read it, or listen to it, or even watch it, even if it means overcoming your pride and opening your mind beyond what is comfortable, it's never too late to give up on those prejudices. Now, the so-called science of heliocentricity, the globe belief, let's get this right once and for all, teaches us, and everybody of the plane, that the Earth is of an astronomical invention, a so-called Big Banged one, and not of an intelligent designed invention. So, in the beginning, nothing suddenly became everything. Everything that is now, and all that you have ever known, that our Earth had once for no reason whatsoever, no cause or effect, happened to just shoot off from the sun, like the other solar planets forming in the same sort of way, and some just happened to be made up of entire gases. So a small piece of molten rock, this tiny Earth rock, by some type of universal cosmic attraction, started to just enlarge and then get bigger and bigger. And then a small bit of molten Earth suddenly, for no reason whatsoever, friends, broke off to make the moon. And then for no reason whatsoever, this rock started to gyrate and get faster and faster and tilt. So this so-called mass took 350 million years to grow and cool for photoplasm from 2000 degrees centigrade to just 200. Now this took another multiple millions of years, and then out of nothing, 700 or so trillion tons of water appeared and suddenly started to stick to the Earth from the outside of it. As it's wobbling now, tilting and gyrating at 1,000 miles in 1 hour. And then, by a somehow unknown miracle, a type of evolution and natural selection took place, and thus somehow produce all living types of life forms and animals and plants and fish and birds. And so a type of Darwinian monkey ape was somehow mutated, which combined with the survival of the fittest instinct, took another countless millions of years to evolve into a so-called primeval man, and many ages then pass before intelligent, conscious, historical human beings were eventually made, and all that you have ever known. And yet the primates are, yes friends, still primates. It's now 25,000 miles in circumference, tilted on an axis, with 700 or so trillion tons of real water able to curve and stick around it from the outside of it, as it's constantly spinning and gyrating at this 1,000 miles an hour at the equator and rotating 67,000 miles an hour around the sun with a gravitational orbital grey moon that can actually reflect sunlight directly onto this blue spinning ball for night and day, as they are both shooting another 500,000 miles an hour through the infinite space, the Milky Way galaxy, towards places of unknown origin, with the atmosphere also sticking to it, and every single one of the zodiac constellations along for this ride to nowhere. Now this is the truth, the science of heliocentricity, and what 99% of the population on Earth are comfortable in believing, that this is the truth to life on plain Earth. Yet so many questions. Why did the Earth just break off? Why did the Earth suddenly stop getting bigger? Why did the Earth suddenly start to spin in the first place and then just tilt? Why was 1,000 miles an hour the decided resting speed? Why did the Earth not carry on cooling down? Where did all of the water come from? And the biggest question, folks, where did the first living cell originally come from? Its original digital DNA makeup coding. Where did that come from? Now these questions, friends, are unanswerable to helioscience, truthfully. But you do get a cosmic soup to eat. And also impossible to answer are, why are the so-called space computer imageries, the pictures of Earth that we have always showed an oranged Earth and never an obleted one. Now the NASA graphic designers, why you would need them at a space agency in the first place is beyond me, have certainly never photoshopped a pear-shaped Earth or an obleted Earth, as Neil deGrasse Tyson and the Bill Guy and many, many others claim that the Earth shape is really an obleted spheroid. So why have all the pics of Earth, the computer-generated pictures of Earth, always been circular? Now when you actually ask somebody directly, face to face, and recount that very paragraph of the heliocentric theory, science of today, what most people believe to be a truthful science, does that really sound plausible to you, an intelligent human being of sound understanding and senses? It's this very uncomfortable silence, with a complete shock of sudden intense intelligence being thrust upon one's so-called sane rational mind, watching the body language squirm with anticipation and opting out to answer completely or truthfully, or then turning the question around to computer-generated space exploration and NASA. Now, theo-rational pseudoscience, friends, science fiction is what it will always be, a science fiction story. When you go back and break it down to the very beginning of time and existence, through the histories, back to the very beginning, it's all measured by eclipses. And that is 100% back to the 7 days of creation, and certainly not millions upon millions of years of evolution. So why would, pray tell, anybody of the people, or any of the people of the plain Earth, want to believe in this never-ending story, and certainly not an intelligent 7 days designed system? And this is why we are indoctrinated at birth, because once you do go flat, there is no going back. Now friends, have you ever wondered why they make you swear on the Bible to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Now God won't strike you down for lying, will he? It's preposterous, it's ridiculous. It's used because the Bible is not just God's word, but it's a book of 100% truth. It's the only truth and nothing but the truth. You swear on that book to be honest, by the only book of truth on this plain earth. And friends, in that book, the earth was made on the third day. So never confuse spirituality with religion. God did not create religion. It was human beings that did. Do you really think we humans actually created fire? Or did we really just learn how to ignite it? Now, remember friends, even the very Sir Isaac Newton, was an alcoholic and went totally insane at the end of his time on this plain earth. And it's no wonder, having to not only try and prove his theory, but to actually believe it's possible, it's plausible. Now, so we can break this down as an understanding, 1 light year is a mere 5.8 trillion English statuette miles away. And the supposed closest star to Earth today is the Alpha Centauri and not Polaris. So the AC star, this is 4.3 light years away. So 4.3 multiplied by 5.8 trillion is around 25 trillion English statuette miles away. 25 trillion with a T. Now Polaris, our fixed North Star, the star that's still used for navigation today and has been throughout history. Now this is a so-called 433.8 light years away. So this is 433.8 multiplied by 5.8 trillion. And what do you think that is in English statuette miles? Now let's try and work it out without a digital phone or a laptop or a calculator. So it's no wonder old Applehead drank himself silly and went totally mad, folks, trying to prove something which has been flawed 100%. Not just with the proofs, but as mentioned with the lunar and solar eclipses, because this is how we measure time, and thus the timeline going back to the 7 days of creation. But this we will certainly cover in another RFEFP upload entirely. So please hit the sub and the knots in case that you miss it, friends. So it was to be 4 times throughout history within the science of Helio Club. The sun's so-called distance has been changed 4 times before their group consensus of settling on a supposed 93 million mile distance. Now Ike Newton thought it was 28 or 54 million. He said it didn't matter what the actual distance was. You can read for oneself that they have literally been making it up as they go along throughout history, changing what they deem necessary to do so, only adding what fits, and thus discarding what doesn't fit, with the already insanely crazy heliocentric theory of creation and purpose. Now, contemporary real sciences, friends, for instance, biogenesis, modern stem cell research. In short, cells must come from other cells, symbiotic relationships. Cells have never just appeared or evolved, even mutated, out of thin air. You don't get the plant or the tree without the seed. And it's in that seed that holds all of the plant or the tree's digital DNA makeup. For any type of junk DNA or mutant DNA is added, what do you think would happen to that seed? It's the same as like adding junk computer code to a working fine file or a program. It would eventually kill it, or it will crash and never work again properly. DNA actually uses 4-bit software, 3D if you will, where our brains still only use 2-bit binary, 1s and 2s. DNA, friends, is the biological living program the digital makeup of every single tiniest living thing on our plain Earth. Mendel's laws of genetics prove evolution to be scientifically impossible genetically, as all animal, all species, DNA structures, they all stick to their own genetic kind. Each species of creature has its own genetic DNA makeup, so it becomes what it's supposed to become. There is no junk code in DNA. If any type of randomness or mutation was to occur to that precision coding, then it would not only hurt the animal, but it would eventually kill it. So the DNA makeup to create a badger is obviously entirely different to what would create a fox. They do not mate. It's a complete mismatch, like a cat and a dog. A cat and a cat create cat. Tall cat, big cat, small cat, hairy cat, no hair cat, even a pink cat, but always a feline species though. And a dog create all forms of canine types. So a horse and a horse make horse, all forms and types, not a giraffe. Monkey and monkey create all types of primates, friends, and certainly not intelligent human conscious biological masterpieces. And also the second law of thermodynamics, entropy, that prove that things actually decline over time. They do certainly not evolve or improve. And these are irrefutable proofs of real scientific caliber, friends. And it's been said that it's only when one really becomes knowledgeable in science itself that one becomes extremely comfortable with the book of Genesis. And in two simple words, genes is. Now I research for the truth, friends. I live for the truth. Is not the purpose of life not just to be happy with oneself, but also to be useful, to be honourable, and to be compassionate? It's why I want to share all of this RFEFP series with you here on YouTube. There is also no such thing as gravity or a gravitational pull or force that can somehow explain all the liquid of Earth curving and able to stick around a 25,000 mile wobbling, bald, tilted pear from the outside as it's moving faster than a speeding bullet. There is only wind that has any open motion on the plane that is actually testable and that you can feel it without interference. This is how you can incredibly fly a kite up to 16,000 feet up. If gravitation was a real pushing force, as the heliotheory states, at a whopping 15 pounds per square inch, the kite could not fly and rise up, could it? Think about this. This is a fact that a lot of people misplace. And also watching the peregrine falcon hunt proves that gravity does not exist in any way, shape or form, as this gorgeous species of a bird dive bombs at over 200 miles an hour vertically straight down to catch a pigeon. Do you think it has a built-in Coriolis effect radar? Well, of course not. Again, it's a myth. It would be not only crushed by the so-called gravitational force to the Earth, but it would never be able to eat if the Earth spins at any rate of miles per hour as it's hunting at 200 miles an hour. These are two proofs that are mostly overlooked, but directly prove gravity and also Coriolis are just mere myths to help sell the fiction of the heliocentricity story. Now, no one has ever become poor by giving. Our Earth is a flat one. It's stable, it's motionless. But it does offer free food, free water, free medication, free wind, free electricity, free solar power, free magnetism, free information, and free will. We're just not allowed to use any of it for free. Now, the real truth, friends, is that the world was created in a magnificent literal 7 days. The whole truth and nothing but the truth. Day 1, night and day. Day 2, the sky and the sea. Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. Day 3, earth, land, and vegetation. Day 4, the stars, the luminaries, the sun, and the moon. Day 5, the sea creatures and the birds. And day 6, the land animals and humans. And day 7 is rest. Rest from all the work which had been made. Now, this is why we have time. Punctuality may be the thief of time. But everything that you have ever known is all traced back to these glorious and magical 7 days, and not for a no reason whatsoever tiny rock. Even in numerology, the number 7 is the seeker, the thinker, the searcher of truth. And it's the sun that goes around the earth, and that the stars are so many spangles set in the bright blue firmament above a flat, immovable earth. It cannot be moved. All things revolve around it. There is only one world. It's the center of it all. The sun, the moon, the stars, the luminaries, they all orbit Earth. Heliocentricity is not the real truth, friends. It's geocentricity that is. Hence it's number 9 on the RFEFP list. Geocentricity is a real flat Earth fact on the plane. Helio versus Geo, well, Geo wins, hands down, as it's the truth. But sometimes, unfortunately, a lie can travel halfway round this plane while the truth is still putting on its shoes. So you make up your own mind. And thank you for watching this upload. I do wish you luck, and as always, please keep safe on this plain Earth. And I can't wait to speak to you in part 10. Please feel free to share. Safe journeys, and thanks again for subscribing.